You know, one of the funnier aspects of what has happened over the last 72 hours regarding Venezuela and the illegitimate president that was Nicolas Maduro is watching as CNN and some of these other leftist organizations try to handle this situation. Initially, they tried to suggest that this was an illegal operation, and then they were reminded that, Barack Obama did this in Libya and that, Joe Biden engaged in the bombing of individuals and obviously the removal of Noriega in Panama, the Panamanian president, was initiated legally because he had indictments against him for very similar concepts, drug smuggling, drug running, and whatnot, a narco-terrorist state, and for being an illegitimate leader of that nation. Watching CNN and other leftist media organizations, hashtag never CNN, I should say, handle this has been ridiculously hilarious because they don't know what to do with it. And Donald Trump simply is not afraid of these media organizations anymore. I don't believe he ever has been, really, but he is certainly, the gloves are off now. When, they ask him these ridiculous, who's in charge of Venezuela? I am. That's what he said. I am. Me. I'm in charge. And obviously, that is not the plan, the game plan long term, but short term, while they get some sort of semblance of order down there and figure out how to hold some elections, we're going to keep law and order as best we can. Now, is that fraught with peril? Obviously. Do I want to occupy that nation? No, I do not. Do I want troops on the ground? No, I do not. Will we necessarily need to have some boots on the ground? Yes, we will. And I hope we can accomplish this without it becoming some sort of quagmire. And if anybody can do that, it's our guy, Donald J. Trump. We'll see. If you have any thought on it, 615-737-9986. By the way, I am keeping a tally of these votes, and this might be the closest nincompoops in the news vote in nincompoops history.
I win.
It is not decided yet that you win.
I win.
My friend, this is neck and neck. It is MoFat versus fake boobies, and it is neck and neck. And I don't know who's going to win it.
I'm winning.
I'm out of the running.
I win, and I'm president of Venezuela.
I think you might have a better shot of being president of Venezuela than beating out Ken Weaver.
I win.
Some folks want to know when the last time you shoved your prosthetic boobies in your waistband. I don't know what that question entails, but I've been asked that by a couple of people.
I don't think it's possible.
We might have misheard you at some point. One way or the other, you can't stuff the ballot box. 0314 is trying to vote multiple times. I see you over there. Not doing that.
Who's he voting for?
He was voting for Ken.
Oh, yeah. That's a personal foul.
I'll keep you guys apprised of the vote tally. But right now, Ken Weaver's leading by 2 votes. 2 votes separates Weaver and Jackson. Doug, thank you for holding. I appreciate your patience. Good afternoon.
Whew, damn, it's the longest wait ever. So
I apologize for that. I apologize.
That's no problem. All I wanted to bring up was about the water situation in that region, Williams County, Murray County, and so on like that. A lot of people remember probably some 30 years ago, we had a good situation develop, and we were going to build a reservoir there. We purchased land from hundreds of people, no telling how many millions of dollars that we have spent building that dam in Columbia. And then because of a snail garter and court battles, we didn't finish that dam. And it just amazes me what we're going through now, talking about water. That reservoir probably would have taken care of this situation multiple times over. We still own the land. Go back and build the dam.
Well, I mean, there's a movement, and we've spoken to individuals who are pushing the Columbia Dam project forward. They call themselves Columbia Dam Now. And we've spoken to, I think Jason Gillum is one of them. There are others. And it is a project that, its premise is well established. You're exactly right, Doug, obviously. You probably were here during that time. I was not. But, yes, the dam itself, I believe, was over 90% complete. They still had some earth to move and some other things to do within the project, but it would be more of a long term. I think with today's technology, I don't know that it's more than maybe 10, 12 years, but that's a long time to wait for that. And you would have to get federal approval. You have to get a lot of things happening. I'm not poo-pooing it, but it is certainly a long-term possibility for that region, especially considering that most of the property is still owned by TWRA.
Correct. It just, to me, I just look back and I look at what we're going through now. And I was born and raised in Nashville. I'm 70 years old. So I was hearing about, I even worked with a person that bought lakefront property for that lake before they finished. You know, they were already selling land around that lake. But anyway, it's just a shame. To me, it just shows you how our government and different agencies work to prevent something. And granted, being an environmentalist and things like that, there's nothing wrong with that. But when do you start taking the snail garter fish, is what I believe it was about, and we couldn't finish that dam because of that, because of the environment and so on, and like, well, where do you draw a line? But looking at it today, well, you're almost do we supply water for the growth or for the people in that area? Or do we say, no, we're going to maintain and save the environment of this species and that? And you got to draw a line somewhere. But at the same time, to me, where we're at now, if they would have finished that dam, we wouldn't even be talking about this now.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, Doug, I don't think there's any question that you're right. The water issues that currently exist in Middle Tennessee would be non-existent had that dam been constructed and completed in the early 1980s. I don't think that it is at this stage an environmental consideration, though. I think it's a monetary consideration, and I think it's a matter of the will of the people. And while there is a very vocal contingent of folks that are in favor of revisiting the dam issue, most people that I've talked with, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, I'm just reflecting what I receive back. Most people that I talk to suggest that there are way too many hurdles in front of us, way too many obstacles in front of us to make the dam a realistic option within the next decade or two. And that the water needs are going to become more pressing before the dam could be in service. Does that make sense?
It does. But I guess it just makes me think that the people that vote and live in the area, and in any area that we're living in today, with people that represent us on different things in politics and things like this, to me goes to show you, well, that's a strike against them in a lot of ways for spending millions of dollars and doing something like this or projects like this. And there's other things that go on, that a wide array of things that we wonder, why, scratch our head, why is this way, you know, and there's too many agencies fighting something that's just so liberal or to me just so crazy that we end up having to going by their guidelines for the future of areas like that.
Well, for far too long,
anyway.
and well, I'm happy that we're out of that era, at least temporarily, Doug, and I thank you for the call. And no, Doug is exactly right, at least in my research in this. He lived through it. I've researched it enough to know that obviously not only close, but the dam was almost to fruition, and it got stopped for a couple of different reasons, and not the least of which are Environmental Protection Agency concerns over some of the protected species in that region of Tennessee. That said, you know, not to mix metaphors, but it is ultimately water under the bridge now. I'm not against thinking big. I'm not against thinking about the possibility of putting a dam there, but that project is 15 years in the making. And the suggestion that has been made to me by most people that understand the issue is that the amount of population growth in Middle Tennessee would outpace the water needs prior to that project coming online. Mike is next. Hello, Mike. Happy New Year.
How you doing? Happy New Year, Matt. How's your shoulder?
Doing well, Mike. Thanks for asking. I'm moving a lot of boxes around nowadays, but it's doing quite well. It's holding up.
Hurting or not hurting?
It's sore in the morning, but, be all right.
Good. All right. New Year. What do you think about our great President Donald Trump, who didn't waste one life, one aircraft, or anything to get a narco-terrorist into Brooklyn, New York?
Pretty impressive.
Why did he put them, Maduro and his wife, into Brooklyn, New York? Why did he take them to Guantanamo Bay, keep them there? Why is he inserting them into New York immediately? Why did he do that? And by the way, he's still blowing up boats in the water, but that's going to die off now. And are you ready for about $1.75 gallon of gas about 3 or 4 years from now from Venezuelan oil? And we haven't even wasted one person, not one life, to do all this. And the world, including CNN, is praising Trump for getting rid of this guy. But what I want to ask you, Matt, is a very serious question. Why did Donald Trump put Maduro and his wife right deep into Brooklyn, New York? For prosecution. Because Zamdani and Hochul, that state that's already gone communist, is now demanding Maduro's release. Do you think Donald Trump did that for a reason?
I don't know that Donald Trump made the ultimate decision himself for Maduro to go to New York. Wasn't that where the indictment was? I think that's right. I mean, so the reason they didn't take him to Guantanamo Bay, Guantanamo Bay is an international military installation, and Nicolas Maduro is facing charges in federal court. And so Guantanamo Bay probably would not be the proper holding place for someone facing charges in federal court, not as an enemy combatant. So he was transported to the Southern District of New York. I believe that's where the charges were ultimately filed against him, which is why he was arraigned there, and his legal proceedings will be handled there. I don't necessarily know if it has anything to do with Mamdani being the mayor of New York. That might just be a bonus. Did you hear that Mamdani had a few things to say about the detention of Maduro in his city?
He wants him released.
Yeah.
He says it's unlawful. It's unlawful. It's unconstitutional.
Yeah, but
and therefore we're going to fight this.
I guess he doesn't consider it.
That's why Trump put him there, because he went out with Zamdani and Ann Hochul up there in New York. Hey, listen, you want these people? You got them. Now what are you going to do in the court system? Are you going to release them? The Venezuelans and the people around the world now are celebrating what Trump did. And you know what? Trump knows this. He's watching this. He said, I'm going to dump this right in New York, because you're the ones that are now just voted in socialism and communism. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm correct that ultimately the original charges emanated from New York, and that's probably the most logical place for them to take him. They maybe could have taken him to other federal installations, but Mike, I mean, it is entirely possible that this was just a bonus on the part of the federal government. I doubt that Donald Trump had anything individually to do with where Maduro ultimately ended up. I'll say this, for those that don't know, these were charges made against Maduro, and I'm just looking at them here. 2020 indictment against Nicolas Maduro was the result of a multi-year investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice into high-level corruption and systemic drug trafficking in Venezuela. The indictment's allegations include that Maduro is leading a conspiracy involving the Cartel of the Suns, a group of high-ranking Venezuelan official and military officers, and a Colombian guerrilla group The FARC is one of them, FARC. The goal was to flood the United States with cocaine as a weapon to undermine the United States while enriching the Venezuelan elite. Prosecutors allege Maduro and his associates facilitated the shipment of hundreds of tons of cocaine annually through Venezuela through clandestine airstrips, fast vessels, and container ships. The indictment also details specific corruption acts, such as he sold diplomatic passports to known drug traffickers to help them move cash proceeds from Mexico back to Venezuela. He used presidential facilities, including hangars at the international airport in Venezuela to load multi-ton cocaine shipments into private and commercial flights. He coordinated with Mexican drug cartels. Maduro and his wife are accused of using state-sponsored gangs to protect their operation and ordering kidnappings, beatings, and the murder of rivals or those who owed them drug money. That is the basic indictment against Nicolas Maduro, impacting the United States of America in obvious fashion. 22 after the hour, we'll get to Greg and Jeff. It's open line 6 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so I've tallied the votes, and I don't appreciate the threats. Jackson Williams has been engaged in a pressure campaign during the breaks, to which he said, you know what, I mean, this is what I'm not making this up. He said, you know what tomorrow is, Murphy? I'll make that look like a tea party if I don't win. That's what you said.
I did, and I mean it.
Well, I'm a little bit torn here because I think legitimately Jackson won. He squeaked out a victory over Ken Weaver. But I don't like the idea of being threatened by you, Williams. So I'm going to take that under advisement and see what we're going to do about it. Now, thank you, by the way, to the Wellness Institute of Nashville for bringing us this weekly award, Nincompoops in the News. It really formalizes our vote counting because, you know, we were a little loosey-goosey with the counting before, but we've got to have our I's dotted and our T's crossed nowadays. Here's an interesting sidebar. You know, we had the attorney for Robin Smith on some months ago. Why does his name escape me? It was Ben Rose was his name. That's right. Former state representative Robin Smith. So remember, what's his name? Casada and Cothran got pardoned by Trump for some reason. I don't think Trump should have pardoned him. Donald Trump does not bat 1,000. Those two should have gone to jail for a certain length of time because everything that I've read about it is that they were engaged in shenanigans. And Robin Smith turned to state's evidence and accepted her punishment, and she was set to go to jail this January for something that they've been pardoned for. Well, it's not going to happen. She was sentenced to 8 months in federal prison for her role in a corruption conspiracy described as a scheme to steal from Tennessee and its citizens through the General Assembly taxpayer-funded constituent mail program. However, it has now been announced earlier today that the former Hickson lawmaker will be spared prison. According to Ben Rose, Robin Smith's attorney, he confirmed, and we'll have Ben on later on in the week, he confirmed that she was resentenced to 1 year of probation and will not serve any jail time. Smith, who represented part of Hamilton County in the Tennessee House of Representatives, had previously been sentenced for her role in the public corruption scheme. Her co-conspirators received pardons from Donald Trump for inexplicable reasons. Once again, he doesn't bat 1,000. And her legal team, led by Ben Rose, petitioned the court to reconsider her sentence. The charge comes a day after she was scheduled to report, on the day, that is, she was scheduled to report for prison. Officials have not released any additional details. We'll reach out to Ben Rose and have him on at some point this week, maybe as early as tomorrow, regarding this. Speaking of breaking news, you've probably heard by now that Tim Walz has dropped his reelection bid, no longer seeking a third term for governor from the state of Minnesota. There's a controversy, obviously, surrounding a massive welfare and child care fraud scandal on his watch, estimated by federal prosecutors to exceed billions of dollars in taxpayer money. The Minnesota Democrat is now announcing that he will not seek 2026 reelection, saying that he will focus his attention on serving the citizens of Minnesota. Here's the bottom line. If Tim Walz thought for a second he could win reelection, he would try to win reelection. He knows that his reelection opportunities have been sunk by the great sleuthing. What's his name? Nick
Shirley.
Nick Shirley. Thank you. Jackson, way to go, buddy. You keeping up with the news.
No, I saw it on Twitter.
Did you? Well, Nick Shirley, what great reporting from this young man. He has been lambasted, had to go into hiding because liberals want to kill him for talking the truth, for speaking the truth. How awful that is, but it is true. Anyway, Tim Walz has been dispatched of, thanks to Nick Shirley and others up there in Minnesota. Hopefully, people go to jail. They don't just lose their right to run for re-election. They go to jail. Big boy prison, as a matter of fact. It's time for the news on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 3686 wants partial credit for your victory, Jackson.
Woo!
That is a loyal listener that was threatening to change the radio station if you did not win with your fake boobies.
I didn't do the
news.
fake boobs.
Oh, wait, Ken did
I
the
had
fake boobs.
MoFat.
That's right, you had MoFat. Okay, well, I can't keep up with it. All I know is you were the winner today.
You win, or I win, you lose.
That is correct. Is that our Dr. Mitch?
Yes.
Speaking of nincompoops in the news, I don't think I've thanked Dr. Mitch and the team over at the Wellness Institute of Nashville personally, and I want to do it on air, for the beautiful trophy and crown that we now present to the weekly Nincompoop in the News winner. Dr. Mitchell, thank you so much. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Matt, you are kindly welcome, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And,
What's going on today?
Well, I have a story about Venezuela that will knock you off your rocker, so to speak. 25 years ago, I was very poor and a college student traveling abroad, and I was with a Spanish class, and we go into Venezuela, and the scam was that they wouldn't stamp your passport. And our instructor made sure they stamped our passport because she said they would throw you in jail potentially because you're an illegal alien and extort money off your family. So we had this big fiasco to get into Venezuela because our professor was from there. But this is nothing. On the way out of Venezuela, because we were there for about a month, on the way out, it was the worst experience of my life, and I swore I'd never go back to Venezuela. And this guy comes on the plane in a nice suit and a pistol on his side, and a guy comes behind him, and he was with the Venezuelan military, I think an AK-47. And if you were from America, and we were heading back to America, so it was mainly Americans with some Venezuelans, you had to raise your hand and show your passport, and they would take $40 cash from you on an international flight from Venezuela to America, or they were going to haul you to jail.
What? When was this?
I swear to God, this happened to me. And then one of the kids in our group, like an idiot, said, well, why we got to pay this? And we're thinking, shut up, man. We just want to get in the air. The pilots had their head down because they were ashamed. And I didn't have $40. I was drinking beer. I was in college. And people, complete strangers and good Samaritans on that flight, it was early 2000, was passing 10s and 20s to the seats to about, 20 or 30 of us college kids, because we couldn't pay the $40 to get out of Venezuela. And they told that kid who asked, and the guy put his hand on his pistol and said it's an exiting tax. So they charged Americans, only Americans, $40 to leave their country. I swear to God it happened because I was a victim of that.
What year was this?
Early 2000, so I think it was Chavez. But I swore never, and even though I went to Angel Falls and loved Venezuela, and the people that were there told us, because, you saw the kids that were real thin, like from the third world countries with the protruding belly.
Mm-hmm.
They said, do not give our children money, because we were trying to give money. It was insulting to them. They said, you can feed them, but don't turn our nation into a nation of beggars. So the people had a lot of pride. So we so we would always invite kids to have dinner with us, and we fed them and gave them good meals. But leaving that place,
was an absolute nightmare, and I swear it happened.
$40 exiting tax. Wow.
To every American, and they looked
Wow.
at your passport to make sure that they were extorting every American $40,
That story is insane. Insane.
and it's true. And I will never go back to that country, even if they clean it up.
Man, I really want to go to I want to go to Angel Falls.
Well, I don't know. Give it 20 years.
I better. Well, so you're telling me if I decide to go to Angel Falls, if they clean things up, I go to Angel Falls, I better just keep $40 on me.
Well, it's probably 80 with
Dr. Mitch,
I got
thank
one
you.
more story
Oh, yeah,
for
go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
A patient was at the clinic today on the walker, and he was walking real fast on the way out, and he's only been in a couple times. And he goes, "I got to get out of here." I said, "What? Why so quick?" He goes, "The nincompoops on the news is coming on."
Oh, yeah. Love
I had
that.
to share that with you guys.
That's awesome. All
Hey,
right.
you're doing amazing work, so keep it up.
Thank you, Dr. Mitch. That's Dr. Mitchell from the Wellness Institute. That's insane. The level of corruption that goes into the military of a country going on an airplane and saying every American here needs to give us $40, otherwise you're not leaving. An exit tax. How crazy is that? Angel Falls, by the way, are you familiar? Angel
No.
Falls? Man, look it up. You'll want to go. I think it's I think I'm right in this. It is the highest unabated waterfall in the world.
So we're taking a trip to Venezuela?
Man, if you just look at images of it, it's incredible. I mean, it's beautiful. Venezuela is some of the most beautiful topography and scenery imaginable, and it's just been corrupted and beaten down. But Angel Falls, insane. I want to go, but I don't know. I better keep $100 or so on me in my sock. Greg is next on the water situation. Greg, thank you for your patience. How are you, sir?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Enjoy your show. And I do want to do a shout-out to Jay Harper. He's a friend of mine and does a good job for you.
Hey, Jay's a great guy. And, Jay and Johnny B, they're running a pretty if you're not checking out their podcast, I suggest you're doing it wrong. They do a great job on that podcast, and they don't pay me to say that. I do that on my own because it's a great buy. Circle in the Drain, Greg.
All right. Hey, I'm in my 60s. I worked in radio quite a few years. So back about 40 years ago, that Columbia Dam project, we've got a lot of new folks in this area, a lot of new folks. They're not familiar with this issue, this situation of the Columbia Dam back then, but you know about Normandy Dam and their lake in Shelbyville and Tullahoma area.
Yes, sir, I do.
The Columbia Dam was on plans back years ago to be included after they built the Normandy Dam. It was going to be part of the watershed deal with the Duck River. It'd been on plans for years. They took, I don't know who they are, but money was deducted from everybody's water bill, went into a till for the Columbia Dam. I don't know what's going on with that money now. I don't know where it's at or even if it even exists right now. I know all this for a fact because I covered it on radio all these years. The Columbia Dam, if you drive down a dirt road into that area where it was, if it was still there, you would see a 4-lock concrete dam standing in the field. And the Duck River was rerouted around it while they built it. Then all of a sudden, these environmentalists, and I went to these hearings, I remember Boston attorneys, not even from this area, with stacks of paper probably stacked up 15 inches high on their tables, and they argued for a snail darter, that it would be interrupted. Well, come to find out, that is all in the Duck River every damn where. So that was some kind of a liberal thing back then, I guess. And this dam's in the doggone field, already built almost, except for rerouting the Duck River and all the work to do with the dirt and all of that. But the dam itself was there. And back then they talked about water situation, and 40 years have gone by, and all these representatives who have been in office in these counties, Columbia, Marshall, Giles, Lawrence, Lewis, all of them, Hickman, probably Williamson as well. Nobody did anything about the water all these years. And now Columbia Power wants to go up 146 doggone %. That's ridiculous. I live by myself in a house. I don't use a whole lot of water, and it's $43, $45 a month for water. And the crazy thing about this dam, it was on, like I said, the planning stages. I don't know where you can find that.
I want to say
now.
that, at least through my research, and I wasn't here, obviously, you were, Greg, but that the material construction of the dam, the concrete construction of the dam, was like over 90% complete.
I would say it was closer to 100%.
Right. I mean, they still had to move earth around, and they still had to do some other things. But, yeah, I mean, it's sadly a fact that all of this could have been solved had that project eventually gotten to completion, but they blew it up. They blew the thing up.
Yeah, they imploded it, got rid of it, didn't leave it there. They got rid of it. Unbelievable how TVA and things can happen. I don't know, but the lake here in the Murray, Marshall, Giles County areas that would be occupied with water, it was going to be 2 or 3 times bigger than Normandy Lake.
How big a lake is Normandy? Do you know? It's not very big, is it?
It's a pretty good size.
Oh, is it?
Lake. I
Okay.
mean, it's not gigantic, but it's.
I just didn't know. I know that they're thinking about raising that dam up to try to hold back some more water to lessen the impact of droughts and whatnot. Greg, I'm going to go to another caller. I appreciate the info and I appreciate the call. Thank you, and the shout out to Jay Harper. Jay's a great guy. Jeff is next up. Jeff, thank you for your call. How are you?
Pretty good, Matt. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, I wish you hadn't let him tell that story about $40 getting out of Venezuela, because now all you're going to do is excite all the liberals in Nashville thinking, we can get $40 to let people out of Nashville now.
Oh, my gosh. Let's not give it. You know what? They're going to be trying that on bars on Broadway.
I wouldn't doubt it a bit. After you pay $10 for a beer, and then you'll have to pay $40 to get out of the bar. Yeah.
That's right. Exit fee.
But, yeah. But on the Maduro thing, basically this operation was not a military operation. It was a law. Basically, they expedited him for legal matters. You know, he was arrested and read his rights in Venezuela, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But and now Madani, he claims he's going to get Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes to New York, because the World Court has deemed that he is a criminal on the World Courts.
It feels to me like Mayor Mamdani is a lot of hat and no cattle when it comes to this type of thing.
But if Netanyahu drives through the streets of New York, can you see Mamdani trying to arrest him? Because he said, well, hey, you could say Trump did the same thing. With this man has got a criminal case against him in the United States, and now we're going to take Netanyahu and take him over to the World Court.
I guess that would be the warmth of collectivism, right? Isn't that what he said? Mamdani, during his inauguration speech, that we're going to replace the rigidity of individual isolationism with the warmth of collectivism, or something along those lines. I mean, individualism is what birthed this country. It's what made this country the greatest on God's green earth. And Mamdani wants to replace it with collectivism, which has failed everywhere it's ever been tried in the history of planet Earth. In the history of planet Earth. And don't tell me Switzerland and Sweden and all that. Those are not socialist places. They have certain aspects of socialism involved in their society, but They believe in free markets over there, too. 615-737-9986. We'll wrap things up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Betty wants to know, do you tally all the votes for the week or just decide by whoever wins the most times? I'm assuming that Betty is referring to nincompoops in the news. You win one a day, and then we tally the daily winners, and we determine a weekly winner. So, for example, if there might be a tie, and tie goes to last week's winner.
Nope.
No, that's exactly the way that we
There
set
can't
it
be
up.
a tie, Matt.
Well, if you win 2 and Ken wins 2 and I win 1,
Then I win.
then there's a tie between you and Ken. And much like in golf at the Ryder Cup, the individual who has the trophy retains the trophy.
Nope, I win.
Jackson has a tendency to disagree. We'll think on it. We got another show coming up tomorrow. We got Mark Levin coming up right now. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have as well. Thank you for being with us. I'm happy to be back. It's going to be a hell of a 2026. We're back tomorrow. Until then, have a great evening. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.